Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is the eighth entry into this now 30-year-old action franchise and could be the final film of the franchise. Returning to the direct for the fourth consecutive movie is Christopher McQuarrie. McQuarrie also lends his hand as one of the two writers of the film. Back from obviously the all eight films is led by Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, who after the events of Dead Reckoning, he got a key which could open something to help destroy the Entity, which is the big technological AI villain of this now franchise. He gets the help of his team. Back from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is Grace, played by Haley Atwell, Paris, who's played by Pom Klementieff, and as well as Degas, played by Greg Tarzan Davis. Also, of course, on the team back from the original eight films is Luther, played by Ving Rhames, and Benji, played by Simon Pegg. Someone who's trying to also control the Entity for themselves is the character of Gabriel, back from the last movie, played by Esai Morales. Also after them are members of the U.S. government. You have Kittredge, played by Henry Czerny, who's back from the first film and Dead Reckoning. You also have Angela Bassett returning as Erica Sloan, who's now the President of the United States after the events of Mission Impossible Fallout. Shea Wiggum is back as Briggs, and the new entries, new people in the franchise, Hanning Waddingham, Janet McTeer, Nick Offerman, Tramell Tillman, as well as and Katie O'Brien. The film is 2 hours and 50 minutes long and is PG-13. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max. We're talking Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie, TV show reviews, added feature reactions, box office breakdown shows, many added feature reactions, many things here on this channel. So please, if you're new, this is the channel for you if you like any one of those things. So please consider subscribing. We just passed 300 subscribers. Let's get to 400 very quickly by hitting that subscribe button. Comment down below. What are your thoughts? Should this be the last Mission Impossible movie? Let me know. Did you like it? Were you disappointed by it? What do you want to see it rebooted? Continue on? Let me know in the comments. Don't leave your ranking. I am going to be doing a ranking video for the Mission Impossible franchise this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But let me know, did you like it? Did you not like it? I respond to all comments, so definitely go comment down below. And the best way to also help support this channel, guys, is hitting that thumbs up button, the like button down below as well. So if you're not familiar with this channel, Mission Impossible might be my favorite straight up action franchise of all time. And it is amazing that the first film came out in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. Trying to make sure, yeah, 1996. We are closing in on, really now it is 29 years after the first film. And while it's one of the longest running franchises we have going in Hollywood, it's also probably the most consistent franchise. Really, everyone can agree. Outside of one movie in this franchise, everyone seems to really enjoy or love the rest of the movies. And that is very tough to do, especially over a 30-year time span. So as someone who grew up with this franchise, I've watched every single movie a billion times. Even though I heard some mixed things about this movie going in, you could not deter my excitement for The Final Reckoning. And I gotta say, while this might not be the best Mission Impossible movie, which is such a high bar in my opinion, because one of these movies is my favorite action movie of all time, I do have to say that this is a great Mission Impossible movie. And it is 3 hours long. I will get into some issues in a second, but you can really feel the epicness, what's at stake. These are by far the highest stakes of the entire franchise. It is very intense, and it still has some of the best stunts that we've seen in this franchise. Tom Cruise obviously is probably still the biggest movie star we have going in Hollywood, and he is obviously also one of the best actors we've had of the last 30 or 40 years, because not just as, yes, he's a charming, charismatic lead, he can be very funny, he can really deliver in the dramatic scenes, and obviously he does all of his stunts himself. And that's why it makes him probably the most believable movie star as well, probably, of all time in all of those aspects. And once again, he is great as Ethan Hunt. It is amazing that what he is doing at his age, and still pulling off all these action scenes. You're never like, that's just an old man fighting people. He's still just as believable as he was 30 years ago. in these action scenes. And that's because, once again, all of these crazy stunts are real stunts that Cruise is obviously pulling off. And it's why this franchise has stood the test of time and why it's one of my favorite franchises of all time. There are two unbelievable sequences. One is underwater with Tom Cruise, and another one is him basically hanging off a plane. Both are nerve-wracking, tense, and unbelievable stunts that Cruise pulls off. Another great thing for this franchise was Christopher McQuarrie. It's not like this franchise needed saving, but the franchise went really to the next level when Christopher McQuarrie took over back for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation 10 years ago. And the filmmaking on display, this is still a jaw-droppingly gorgeous movie. The sets are immaculate, the shots are immaculate. Because not just are the stunts difficult to do, but the filming of the stunts is also just as tough at times. And the way McQuarrie pulls that off is also quite impressive. The whole ensemble here is really good. Hayley Atwell is a really good addition to this franchise. She was good in the last one. She's also very good here. Simon Pegg has always been my favorite side character of this franchise. Love him, love Luther, of course. Pom Klementieff also gets a lot more to do than she did in Dead Reckoning. I really like her character. Angela Bassett also was very minor in her role in Fallout, but because she's the president, she actually has a lot more of an emotional core, I think, in this movie. I got a lot more emotionally into her storyline than I was expecting. She's obviously one of the best actresses working today, but she's phenomenal. Also, in this film, the score is amazing. And I gotta say, the last hour or so of this movie is fantastic. It feels top tier Mission Impossible, I would say. The last hour, hour and a half of the movie. Really, once, as you know what I'm talking about, when Cruise begins the underwater sequence, this movie really hits the next level for the remainder of the film. It is a 3-hour movie that, yes, should it be nearly 3 hours long? Probably not, but I gotta be honest, there are movies that this length feel like it's been 3 hours. It's amazing. This movie is pretty much, after the first act, the second and third act are so well paced. Even for its length, it still flies by. And it's amazing how intense and emotionally tight I am with these characters, these actors, and this franchise. I just love the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, what I would say is, on a negative level, for me, this movie has a lot of callbacks to prior movies, a lot of explaining to do, because again, before the reshoots, this was supposed to be a part two. Again, Dead Reckoning was Dead Reckoning Part 1 when it released in theaters 2 years ago. This was Part 2. They reshifted it, just calling it The Final Reckoning, and the last one just Dead Reckoning. But this movie has to do a lot of explaining. And for me, it is way too much explaining. The first 30 to 45 minutes is literally all exposition, where we're just being told and told and told and told. And then also flashback, 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 so much information. The first act is so overstuffed and, it makes the franchise at times feel very convoluted because they're reaching from so many different films in the franchise. So this film definitely rewards you if you've been like me, a day one, I guess, Mission Impossible fan, but also if you are a day one Mission Impossible fan, they are re-explaining things that you already know. They clearly were very nervous that a lot of the plot is obviously important, that you have seen the other movies, but this movie kind of feels like you're in a class trying to learn about the facts of Mission Impossible instead of interesting ways. This franchise has always been really special at interesting exposition, because all these movies need a mission, explain what the mission is, and go on it. To me, there is so much exposition, and it makes for an extremely slow first half. And as I said, very similar to Dead Reckoning, I still think there's a bit too many characters in this film. It's very overstuffed, but I gotta be honest. Is this top tier Mission Impossible? It might not be my top 2 or 3 Mission Impossible films. That is such a high bar, because this might be the greatest action franchise of all time. And I think this is honestly a great way, if this is the last Mission Impossible movie, a great way to go out. So overall, I'm going to give Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm going 83% for Final Reckoning. What are your thoughts? Stay tuned this weekend for my full ranking of all 8 Mission Impossible films. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon.